What's up, y'all? Ik hatte Kevin. I'm happy and honored to be joined with Germany's film prodigy, Tim Gerbert. He's the director of the Middle High German language short film Du bist bin, ich bin din. In English, that is literally, You're mine and I'm yours. A film set in the medieval period, and yes, completely in the Middle High German language. His short film had won two awards. In 2023, it won Beste Schauspielerische Leistung, and that is in English, forgive me for my bad pronunciation. In English, Best Acting Performance. And at the Jugend Filmpreis, Young Film Award, BW Baden-Württemberg, and yeah, so that was that film festival, and then in Austria in 2024, the film won best film migration period dash Middle Ages at the History International Film Festival. Welcome to the channel, Tim. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. So this film, like, what inspired you to make this film?
In the beginning, I was always interested in history and also in the medieval period, and I always really enjoyed medieval music. So yeah, I thought about telling a story from this time period, and I started to think about it. And in this moment, I think it was about, I think it was in 2019 or 18 maybe, and I discovered Middle High German. So I was not really sure how people spoke back then in my region, which is a difficult thing to say, but I think we'll come to that later maybe. And I tried to discover this old language, but I never studied that. So I did an audio play for my city, for the town I lived in back then, to tell the medieval history of this place. And I wondered, could we even understand the people that lived back then? And I did some research, and I found out about what we know about medieval languages, and that was really interesting to me. And I decided, if I ever tell a story that is set in the Middle Ages, of course I want to do it in as close as possible in that language they spoke back then. And this was maybe the first idea that I had to do this short film. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's a very impressive film altogether. The fact that you went out your way to have that detail, because it reminds me of like films like from like people like Mel Gibson, like for example with his Apocalypto. They all spoke, I believe, Mayan or what have you. I forgive me if I'm wrong. Or in another film, Passion of the Christ, where the Romans actually spoke Latin. That's a really cool feature. And now your film has Middle High German. So how did you go about like the dialogue? Did somebody help you write it, or how, like, or did you or you had someone do it for you? Like how did that go about?
Yeah, so it was during lockdown. I decided, now you have to get something done, because I was ill myself, and I just spent my days in my tiny room, and I decided now it's the time to write this screenplay. And I imagined the story, I imagined the characters, of course, and somehow I was also in the right mood, because it was very it was the right moment, and I decided to write it down now. And then of course I wrote all the dialogues in normal German as we speak it today. And then as I finished the screenplay, I started to search for someone to translate it for me. And this was actually the hardest part in the whole project, I think, because I live near Tübingen, near a university town in my area, and they're very famous for old languages, also for Middle High German. But I wasn't aware of that before I started to research for someone to translate my dialogues. And I wrote many mails, and I tried to find someone, but it was really very difficult, and nobody wanted to help me. And even the students were very busy at that time. It was the end of the year, I think. So yeah, it was not the best time to do it. Yeah, and I got some mails back, and it was always like, yeah, maybe we can find someone from the students who can do this for you, but nobody ever showed up. So I tried a different idea. I knew a YouTube channel which was also dealing with Middle High German, and I found this channel I think in the same year, yes, and I just wrote to the person, which is Annika Palmer on Hartmannsaue. This is the name of the channel. And I pitched her the idea and said, listen, I got this dialogues, but I'm not an expert. And I need someone who translates this for me in a nice way. And she said, yeah, it's no problem. I can do this for you. And this was really cool, because she did the translation and also told me how to pronounce those words right. In the meantime, I think I got a good own intuition. Yeah, you can say it like this, maybe, how to pronounce it. But back then, of course, I was I just was a beginner, and she gave also audio records to me, so I could show them to the actors, and they all practiced their sentences. And from this moment, I was sure about that it was really important to keep all this very strict. So these were the sentences she gave us, and when we go to the set, they have to be pronounced like this. Of course, we can work it out in connection with the acting and the scenery, but the sentences should be the sentences she gave us. So later we improvised a little bit, but we of course wanted to keep as authentic as possible as she would have made the translation. Yeah, and so yeah, and then we shot it.
Wow.
And yeah, that was a very cool experience also for the actors. They never did something in Middle High German before, and it was their first contact with this old language, and I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Wow, I thought that's incredible. So, and I know about that channel. Yeah, that's pretty incredible stuff. And I didn't know about that, about forgive me for my bad pronunciation, Tübingen, where that's known for studies of older languages. I would think that Latin would be a very popular one there, because normally anything with medievals, any medieval program, really, it's really at least when I did my MA, it was Latin was something I learned, and also other places they teach ancient Greek. But anyway, yeah, that's really cool. So my question now, like, what was your reaction when you when you got the translation from her? What was your reaction to the Middle High German? Was it something you can like recognize right away, or was it foreign, or how did you receive it?
It was not that foreign. I think for German-speaking people, it's not that difficult to understand it. So, but sometimes they understand it in a wrong way. Some some terms are just not the terms we would use today. So we can imagine what is meant, but sometimes different words are just do just have different meanings back then.
Yeah.
So that's very because in the at first you think, yeah, it's very easy, you can all understand all of this, but medieval poetry and also the Minnesang, which is very famous for the area I live in, so the German courtly love songs back from that time, they sometimes, of course, include humoristic or poetic things that you only recognize if you really understand Middle High German. So it's not just I think I roughly understand what is written there, but if you really go into Middle High German studies, you learn how to understand all these terms and what they meant back then. So yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah, that's the same with Old English. Yeah, there are plenty of words that they're recognizable to an English speaker today, but they weren't exactly used the same way.
exactly.
But given that this,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one example. I know, like, I have studied Old High German, but I know its modern equivalent. I know that, for example, in Old High German, you have, I believe, like you have a word like weeb or weep or what have you, and that was a very old way of saying woman. But if you were to say vipe, that's like a very, very rude thing to say. That's like equivalent to saying in English today, like abroad, to refer to a woman. So, which is not a very nice, term. But at the same time, you also have weiblich in German, which means like feminine. So it's kind of like
which is still existing. Yeah,
it's
without
funny
a
how,
negative connotation.
it's funny how language works like that, and like we would because like what is archaic in one language, which is normal in another. I'll give you one example. Like like the word maiden, or Mädchen, for its German cognate, or and like one is like kind of you find it in poetry, or maybe in some dialects in England or what have you. But that word Mädchen, I mean, that's it's like common. It's like normal. It goes to show how these languages, how German in general, High German to be very specific, have been fairly conservative over the time. And so, as you said, when you're reacting to it, it's something recognizable. It's not something alien to you, which is cool. Like whereas
most of the dialogues in the short film are, sorry for interrupting you. Most dialogues in the movie, I think, you can understand from a surface level. So it's not. Most of the things that happen are still very, very clear to us. So I think the language also is a part of that, but I think most of what is said you can also understand from the scenery and the acting.
Yeah, with the context of what's going on. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So my next question now is, when you got the recordings from her, sorry, I almost lost my train of thought. When you got the recordings from her, like what pronunciations stood out to you as like, okay, this is different to what we say now in standard German, if you remember?
That's a tough one. I think I have to think about it for a moment. I think what was very still recognizable is, of course, the word for mother. So the Mutter from Middle High German is very similar to Mutter, which we still have in German, and also to mother in English, of course. Which I thought back then would be maybe funny too, because the word is very present throughout the movie. Our main character says it a few times, and I think at this moment you also can see the similarities in those old Germanic languages.
Yeah. Okay. That's because that word because in an Old High German, Mutter, would be the older form, and of course that vowel between the M and the T that changed over time, or depending where you are, or in some cases it hasn't changed. For context, for our audience here, so this film, could you, without revealing too much, because we want to encourage people to watch the film, of like the premise of like what the story is?
Yeah, it's about a little boy, maybe about 12 or 13 years old. He's called Trudwin, which means treuer Freund, a dear friend, loyal friend, also in a way.
Or the exact English cognate would be like true friend.
True friend. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And he lives with his mother in a tiny cabin at the near the woods, and she's very how can I describe it? She's very protective, and she don't want him to leave the house and experience this outside world on his own. So they really live a very close life together. They really need each other. There is no father to that boy. We don't know. Maybe he left, or he died, or something like this. It's never actually told in the story. But for me, it makes sense that she's very that her boy is very dear to her, and she is very scared of that something could happen to him. And it's a bit like in the Parzival roman by Wolfram von Eschenbach, which is a Middle High German author from the Middle Ages, of course. And in the beginning, it's also like Parzival is living with his mother, and they have a very strict bond, but she is also afraid of letting him go and experience his own life. So maybe this was an inspiration for this situation. But then something, really terrible happens, and from one moment to another, Trudwin has to stay on his own feet, and has to do a kind of a mission somehow. I don't want to tell too much, but he has to go out on his own and to experience this world, which is medieval Germany, of the south of medieval Germany, which is not very well known to him, and also not very well known to us, of course, today, because we can't really imagine how it was back then, but we try to come as close as it was possible for us in this moment. And it's of course very scary to him, but he learns different things, and he is constantly growing throughout the movie. And he's something else, somebody else in the end, and developed a different personality.
Wow. So that's pretty powerful. So like it's sort of like a coming of age, you know. Yeah, that's and I think a lot of people can relate with that, because they either have experienced something like that in their own lives, or they knew someone who went through something semi-similar or what have you. That's a good premise. And the thing is, like, at that time, people like were very close-knit, and the fact that you captured that is a good reminder, because now a lot of people are so isolated, with their phones or technology, whereas back then, I mean, you didn't. Everyone didn't have like their own room. Like when you go into a house, it's really just one room, and you just sleep on what's on what side of the room or what have you. And even then, like if someone were to live in a castle, I mean, like it'd be a very cold place, but I'm digressing. But yeah, that's wow, yeah, that's really something. So yeah, you mentioned Percival. So for those who are listening or not familiar, so Percival, this is related to Arthurian literature, like King Arthur. So like courtly poetry, and for context, for those who are not familiar with this period. So Middle High German, this is roughly, I'm thinking top of my head here, like at least in the 1100s, a little onward, 1200s, bit into, I want to say maybe 1400, like ending around 1450. I'm mentally speculating here because like it's not my field, so to speak.
I think it's changing from the 13th to the 14th century. So
Okay.
we have something that is called Frühneuhochdeutsch then, which is early New High German. Directly translated. I'm not really sure how the English term is.
Early modern German. That is equivalent to early modern English. So it'll be around. So that früh Hochdeutsch would be, forgive me for my bad pronunciation, that'll be around the same time as Shakespeare. I
think it's still, but also in the 17th century we also got this it was very different back then. They started to do all this grammar stuff, and they tried to form a German language somehow, which was very popular in the 17th, very popular in the 17th century, and also very important novels of the German literature were written back then, like the Simplicius Simplicissimus, which is a very funny book actually, but sometimes also sad. It's very tragic, but also funny at the same time. It's a great, we had a few problems with this term Middle High German, because of course what we know still today, or what is told at the universities, is a very specific form of Middle High German. It's of course mostly derived from courtly poetry. So we don't. Sometimes it's difficult to think about how the people really spoke in their everyday lives, and they had very strong dialects, and they would very different throughout Germany and also throughout the southern region of Germany. So what we did is a very strict Middle High German courtly interpretation in those dialogues, because it was just not possible for me to deep dive that much that we could think about dialects or something. I never found a person who could do something like this. But we try to come as close as possible to make those this language understandable again, and to show the whole experience of Old German. But we of course don't know exactly how it was spoken, and also it's a bit difficult because we only have those sources that were written down, and most of those sources are of course courtly or very high status poems.
Because that's the thing. So, but well, what I can say, well, thank God for Old High German, because that could help in like give you an idea, even though it is like very, like it was written by a skald or what have you, or I mean, forgive me, that's a Scandinavian term, but like a bard would have you, or someone like within a king's retinue. but I'm willing to say, I think what you had is an okay, or not, I shouldn't say okay, it's a good approximation. Um, I mean, it's not that we don't know at all. I mean, the fact that we have any literature from this time period, we have some ideas, and it's likely that um, I'm willing to say that, like, because you can say the same thing about Old English, that, like, I mean, yeah, we have all this literature, and but, like, do we really know how these people would have spoke? I mean, we have some ideas, um, and but yeah, it's but even then, you have dialects within dialects. So I'm willing to be optimistic and say um, that there would have been people who spoke just like your film. So because we're talking about, because thing is, Middle High German. I mean, anything before the 1400s, before the Gutenberg press, um, non-standardized languages were not standardized. So, and even then, the populations of these, like, kingdoms, like, what is it, like now Bavaria, the region of Franconia, and the dialects there. I mean, these are larger populations, and so you have large, like, for example, for those who are not familiar, the Paternoster, or as in English we call it, the Lord's Prayer. We have in Old High German, we have several versions of that in different dialects, and they're all saying more or less the same thing, but a few word choices are different, or the difference would actually be not so much in what words are using, but the consonants would be different. It'd be the same language. So what would make it a different dialect would be, for example, instead of saying BIST for do BIST, it would be like do pist. Like, that could be a dialectal thing. So I wouldn't, whoever when she did that for you, I'd say it's really good work, because it's likely someone would have spoken like that. And what she did is not easy work, because I would think that for work like that, there must be some times where we're like, oh man, how will they say it? Probably scratch her head, and this, like, I would have to make some executive choices, because I mean, I would have this sort of anxiety too, for if I were to do something like this, where, like, because anyone who watches this film, or in my case, a video of mine, or what have you, they would think, okay, this is what the language is, but when really it's just an approximation. It's a good guess, but it's all in all, Tim, it's a great achievement in of itself.
It's, of course, yeah. I just wanted to tell that we are aware of that we know how it was maybe pronounced, and it's it can be like this, but it's not sure for this specific region that I'm telling this this film and the story in. So
Could you remind me again, because and the audience, like, where in Germany this takes place exactly? Like,
it's also in the south of Germany, in Baden-Württemberg. Yeah.
Okay.
The story takes place. So yeah.
Okay.
But we really there's really a lot of work that went into the translation, and I'm still very grateful that she did this for the film. And I think since we really concentrated on doing it right, it still feels kind of natural. And it was really hard to translate those sentences, because most of the ideas, of course, come from courtly novels, which are written in verses. So it's very hard to do a dialogue for a normal scene from everyday life from this verses, so that you really form sentences, or even find the right words to describe what the actors, or what the characters are trying to say. So that was really, really hard, I think, because we don't have that much texts about just normal dialogues. Yeah, it's not very much.
Well, I'm just hoping that one day, someone discovers them in an archive and, oh, what you look at this, that'd be great because, and that happens, like in England today, get people as a pastime, people get their metal detector and they find stuff and yeah, because thing is with this stuff, all this medieval stuff, the thing is with medieval manuscripts, what I'm going to say, it's unfortunate, but it has happened. I know a few things about German history, but I know that what I'm going to say now is it probably was the case in Germany as well, where some people, they would take a manuscript and let's say it has Old High German or Middle High German, and they would repurpose that leaf, that page for something else. So there could be texts out there and that
are still invisible below bookbinding or something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Or another thing too, in the 19th century, house fires were like a common thing, at least in England. Like for example, the Beowulf manuscript. Thank God somebody threw it out the window, or otherwise we would never have Beowulf. So I don't know whether that was the case in Germany, but I mean, for the fact that the stuff that we do have, for the fact that we have, for example, Hildebrands's Lied in Middle High German. I mean, oh man, yeah, I think this is a good time to say this, but yeah, I have translated some of that into Old English. I mean, I'd be happy to share it with you.
Really? Oh, great.
Yeah, I did like the first few stanzas of it, and I mean, some of it was easy, some of it like, okay, this is how would I go about this? But yeah, I mean, Old English and Middle High German are pretty similar. For context, for those that are listening, by High German, or the term high, this is a geographical term for those that are not aware, opposed to Low German, and that's in the north, and we're talking about altitude. So and then just for context, for geographical terms, Netherlands, the Nether Lowlands. It's anyway, just thought I want to point that out there for our audience, so they can understand these terms that we're throwing around: high this, low that, and and all this. But yeah, cool. That's really neat. So, and this film, so it won an award in 2023. So so the first film festival, when this film was shown, and how did people receive it? Like, what was the reaction?
Actually, not very good, sadly. So they really liked they really liked the acting of the main character, and he really did that very, very great. So Julian and we read the book first, and we dived into the story, and I did an audio play with him, and I heard his voice and saw his acting. I thought, when I need a boy this age for some of my movies, I definitely have to do it with him. Luckily, he said yes, and we started this adventure in Middle High German. So a 12-year-old speaks Middle High German. It's very impressive, I think. And he really did a great acting job, and we also played and prepared a lot while we were filming, and he really understood the vision, and that was really great. But when we went to the festival, in the end, there was no recognition of this interesting experiment that we did. So we made a film in Middle High German, which is medieval German. I don't know a single project that ever did that before. So, but that was not particularly interesting to this festival. They just said, okay, this was a very cool kid who played this main role, and that's why you got this prize. And they even went so far to say, yeah, the project on his own is yeah, it's not very relevant, but the acting is very good. So here you have the main prize, which was very hard for me actually, because it's not meant to be arrogant, but they always tell you, do this film that only you can do, yeah, that only you want to do with your own voice, and then you're doing this, and it's very unique that has never been at any of those festivals, and they'll just say, yeah, it's all right, but it's 800 years ago, wasn't it? So it's not very important. And they even told me this in their letter, so it was a bit kind of a downgrade for me, and I thought, well, maybe it's just not the right time to show this movie, or it isn't that good after all. And yeah, then I came to this other film festival, which is the International History Film Festival in Austria, and they were totally, they really were really interested in this project because of this of the language, of the scenery, of the costumes, of how everything was made, because I really paid a very high standard on costumes and details and all this little stuff, because I wanted to feel as authentic and natural as possible. And they really appreciated that, and I thought that was really cool, because they saw it as the whole project, which was interesting. And they yeah, so we won a prize there, and yeah, that was really cool. But actually, the film was well known until I put it finally on YouTube, and in this moment I thought, well, now it's lost anyway, because I put it on YouTube and there it just stays, and I don't know if it gets seen or anything. And from the moment on, everything changed. And this was very interesting for me, because I always thought I have to do this film festival path. I have to do the things that are common and well known at these festivals. But now I'm aware that this project really means something to some people, to some people. Also, not only from a perspective of old languages, which is great, but also from an emotional level. I also got many things, many messages in the commentary section, which told about own experiences and things to see, or ways to see the story, and that was really cool for me, because I found out that it also has is also valuable from a storyteller's point. It's not only about the language, but for some people also about the story that is told, and about the feelings that are expressed, and about the characters that we learn to know. And yeah, that was really cool for me. I'm really grateful also for the experience, an interview with Geschichtsfans, which is a very popular YouTube account in Germany, and he is telling all about medieval Germany. So that's a very cool, very well-known YouTube channel. And yeah, I was always a bit scared of him, actually, because normally his job is to watch documentaries and just bash everything and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And I thought, if he ever wants to see my movie, I think, of course, he will find something that he wouldn't like. But he actually found the film, and asked me to do an interview and really enjoyed it, and he recommended it to everyone. So this was a very cool experience, and also to get this feedback of the people that are interested in these kind of films. And yeah, so it was a totally different experience than what I had in the first 2 years with this film, because yeah, it was really, it didn't start it very fast. So we shot it in 2022, and now it's, I think, near the level that I think is great, because now it will be a part of an exhibition in a medieval city next year, and it will be shown for about 2 or 3 months, I think, in the exhibition about medieval city life. And that's very great, because I started this project and figured out how to do a movie, because it was my first short film in this size, and now it really can mean something to someone. And that's yeah, I really appreciate this, that people see this in my work, of course.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tim. That's incredible. That's like, you know, especially with that YouTuber and myself and people, you know, into older languages and history in general. This is incredible because, yeah, you know, there in that there is a huge audience that is waiting. That I'm losing my words here, but I really mean this when I say this, that there are a lot of people who will love your film for not only for the language part, yeah, that's part of it, but the fact that it's a relatable story, that they can see themselves as the boy in some way, or see themselves as the mother, and yeah, so, and the fact that you actually went out your way to try to do detail in a world now of, how can I word it, superficiality, you know, people trying to cut corners when it comes to making period films, because of in the minds of people who make the more popular films or what have you, like they're like, okay, how can we make money out of this, make it entertaining, let's embellish, let's be less accurate, and just kind of go with what's trending rather than what was accurate to the period that we're filming about, or what have you. But you went out your way, those extra steps, with the locations, the costumes, the language. You know, it's like a world in of itself. And I think when you have all those puzzle pieces together, you know, that you know, the storytelling, the fact that it's a very human story that we can all relate to in one way or another, and all these puzzle pieces. That's what in my view, that what makes it a great film. All these wonderful pieces coming together.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was important for me, and I think it's this idea that I always had. I think that I want to make media productions which do really bring history to life, but also tell not just the cliche stories, but also yeah, I think I am going to dive deeper now and to try to write really interesting characters and tell the stories of different individuals from these time periods. And yeah, I want to bring this to life.
Yeah. So another way to, another way to word this, it's like you're taking a black and white film and putting color and sound to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a nice picture. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're bringing life to it, because for a lot of people, I would think that, like, maybe could be the thinking of the people that in the first festival, that, oh, this medieval stuff, oh, like, it's so abstract, it's so distant, you know, how could anyone really, I guess, I mean, you know, but like, it's their loss, you know, they missed out. I think I don't know, it's just, or maybe it could be that they're jealous, because maybe they see that, oh wow, this is something great, but they don't want to show it, you know. But I don't know, but like, I can tell you right away that, sorry,
I'm not sure either. Yeah, I don't know why they
Yeah.
acted like this, but yeah.
Yeah, I would think that no, like your film is great of itself. I mean, I would highly recommend anyone to watch it. So th- this film, uh, this film, I just would like to. Is this out of all the films you've made in general? Is this your first film, or have you done other stuff, or rather, let me ask you a more wider question, like your background in film and how you got into that, and if I may ask.
Yeah, when I think when I was 9, I discovered a digital camera of my father and also his laptop with the editing software on it. And I just, of course, went outside with my friends and we started to shoot little stories and movies. Most of them never came to an end because we always try to expand it, but we never found an end, of course. And that's a bit sad because from this era I only got some pieces of film, but never a finished project, which was very typical for me back then, I think. But of course, I learned different things. I made a apprenticeship as a media designer, and I started to shoot short films, also image films for a while. But this is not what I want to do. I really don't want to do image films. That's really, for me, it's very horrible because you're doing the same thing every time and portraying the company you're trying to portray. And for me, it's not about the technical experience. I don't want to talk about cameras or lighting stuff or something like this. It's just not what I want to do. I want to use the medium of film to tell my stories, but I'm not that interested into this technical part. So also the apprenticeship was not that easy for me because it's very much about the technique stuff. But then I had done one short film, which was, I can't look at it today, but it was a very small project with friends. And when I came out of school, before I started the apprenticeship, I said to myself, now you have to do something, because if you want to walk on this path, you just have to write your screenplay now, and you have to tell the story that you want to tell. And I just wrote it, and we were very lucky also to get that much support from locations who gave it to us just for free. At most of the locations we were allowed to shoot for free when they were closed. Most of them were outdoor museums, because it was very important for me to get real reconstructions of buildings from the time period. And that was really, really cool to shoot there and to have this experience. But I also got support. There is one scene when Trudvin enters the village. He finds also other people who live there. And at this point, I discovered a living history group for the first time in my life. So that was really eye-opening, because I always loved those medieval markets and historic festivals and this stuff, but I never came across someone who really is doing this kind of stuff. So of course, some of them would say there is a big difference between medieval markets or Renaissance fairs and real, true historical events, and that's definitely true. And I learned to know a group which is called Griefenstein 1270, and they really supported me in doing this special scene in the village. And they came with all their customs and everything. But we also had done the customs for the other actors before, because we started shooting with what we knew, or what I knew, and I tried to put things together and make those period costumes. And yeah, actually they weren't that bad. I was really happy about that because even the living history actors would say that it's really not that far from accurate. So yeah, it was an interesting experience also to find those costumes. And then we shot together, and I'm still a part of this living history group because I really enjoy yeah, of course, bringing history to life. And yeah, they also became very dear friends to me. So it's really cool what also came from this project. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, they probably, yeah, I would imagine they would have they lit up when you would tell them, yeah, I'm making a movie about this period. Oh man, I mean, they probably, yeah, that's so nice of them to help you with it and all that. Yeah, because I would imagine, you know, like especially in that part of the world, you know, like it's really nice. It's refreshing. It's really refreshing to have period films from Germany, and especially of this period because it's like how can I word it? You're like a pioneer. It's, you know, this is like an untapped source, and because other people are doing other things, but you're doing this, and that's great because like as I said before, and I think I will be repeating this time and time again, that there is a large audience out there that would, you know, like they see, you know, once they know that this film exists, to be like, oh my god, this is a gem. You know, why didn't I know about this before? You know, and it's yeah, the fact that it's, I mean, of course I'm biased because because of, you know, my background with languages, but the fact that you know, yeah, because people want accuracy when it comes to films, and you know, they don't want something superficial. But yeah, that's great. That they helped you with it. So apart from let me ask you this. So apart from the language bit, so what was the difficult part about making this film apart from the language part and all that? Were there anything that was challenging and you overcame and
Yeah, so first I did the whole production on my own. Never did that before, and I will never do that again, because sometimes it's really hard. I got the role for Trudwin was fixed from the beginning. Of course, I wanted to do it with Julian, and I also got an actor for the healer. I saw him play in the theater play back when I was a child, and I thought maybe one day when I'm doing a short film, I will yeah, make him a part of it, and that really happened, which was really cool. And he played this this healer for us. And last but not least, of course, there is Hannah Jaitner, which played she played the mother, and she did really a marvelous job doing that. And not only because of the old language, but the way she expresses her feelings for her boy, but also her strictness to keep everything together as she intended, is very it's very cool, I think, in this short film. But she was the last actress who would join the group because I really did a lot of yeah, I really tried to get actors for this project, but I couldn't find which was fitting for the role of the mother, and she was the last one who yeah, said maybe, well, I think maybe we can do this. And yeah, we tried it, and it was really great in the end. But I really got a lot of actors who just they could imagine to do it, but they were not sure in the end, and so it was a very long process to get the perfect role for the mother. Yeah, so this was challenging, and then of course I started to write all the production plans on myself, which was important because we everything had to be organized. Before that, I was on a television set for 3 months, I think, which was very helpful because I saw how how everything comes together and how they work and how they, yeah, it's sometimes working with the film crew. It's like I think sailing a little ship or something. There is a crew and everyone has to work together, and we are doing this all together, and everybody has to be concentrated and in the moment. And yeah, I'm really happy with the crew that I had because those were all friends or people that I knew from school. So also the audio guy or the cameraman Kaius did a really great job, and it was very stressful. I think it was maybe the most stressful thing that I ever did at that moment. But yeah, we just kept on sailing, and we brought it to an end. And yeah, the result is what you see now. Yeah, and it was back in 2022. So I'm still talking about this project now, but it's of course it's yeah, my beginner's project. I think we all really learned much in that time that came after this or through this project. Also, it was also really a learning field for technicians, for storytellers, for actors, for all those different fields, and that was really cool. Yeah, to figure that out. Yeah, how to tell the story that I imagined, and I'm very happy also that they took the opportunity to work with me, and yeah,
Wow,
that was very cool.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I just thought about one more challenging thing is sometimes shooting in outdoor museum environments can be difficult because all of these houses are real buildings, but some of them are not really made for living, and that's sometimes a bit yeah, can be challenging because you got a fireplace, but you got no window in the ceiling. Yeah, I think it's no.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
I know what you mean though. Yeah, there's no like
yeah,
hole or something or a chimney or something where
yes,
the plate
yes.
where the smoke can go. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are some of these problems, and it gets cold. Historical clothing can be really warm, but sometimes if you stay with real historical shoes directly on the ground and it's night and it's very cold, it's still not very yeah. It's sometimes a bit hard because they're very thin, and yeah, so there were a few challenges also for the actors, and they really had moments where they were sweating and freezing and and had to act under very hard conditions, and yeah, that you really can see it in the movie, I think, but on some days it was very challenging also for them, and especially for our youngest, of course. He was 13 years old, and he had really hard days with us to bring this story to life. Yeah, but he really did a marvelous job. Very proud of him too.
Oh, man, yeah, everyone should be proud of him. I mean, you know, like knowing that, wow, you know, to have it all come together, you know, through rain or shine or what have you, and I can imagine the frustration. I imagine there could be moments where like it's like, oh man, I hate doing this, you know, like,
Yeah.
but no, but you you pulled through, and that's strength. That's craft. That's power. That's wow. That's great. Because I can imagine somebody would love the idea of doing this, and then like, then they realize, oh my, this is like way too hard. But no, you pulled through. Like, that's incredible. I said this off camera, but I will say this now, for our audience. Yeah, everyone that's part of your film, in my view, is a hero. Because you're preserving. Well, I mean, the fact that you went through all that and you came out with a good product in the end, a good film in the end. Forgive me, not product, a good film in the end. And because this film, like, I'm saying this like from a wider point of view, and that you're preserving history. You're preserving a snapshot of like what your country was like at one time, and it's it's great. I can't. I know I'm repeating myself time and time again, but really, like, it's like I dream of more of like stuff like this, like, to come out, as there are more people out there who have an interest in this sort of thing, or even just the medieval period in general. I mean, and with the things like I know it's high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or this or that. They would enjoy something like this too, because it's in fact, with what I just said, well, they had to come from somewhere, right? I mean, well, it would, they would have to come from this stuff, which, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really something else that you went out your way, despite the difficulties, despite the obstacles that you pulled through. So yeah, wow. Okay, so my next question is, the thing is, I guarantee you, there, like, after this, once this is done, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I should have asked Tim that, but it is what it is. But so there was a question I wanted to ask regarding the film, but it's escaping me now. But yeah, it's great. I would imagine that some people, they would hear the film, and some actors would hear the film like, oh, rejected it, but like, it's really their loss, because despite the fact that you've made this film in 2022, it's still being talked about now, and you will be talking about it later. And I think from I mean, of course, I mean, you have other projects going on, but I think that this will be a discussion for many years to come, in my view. Yeah. So my next question now is more geared towards, are you working on any other projects, or like, with your permission, like a sneak peek into like other like films you're working on? Will there be a sequel to this film in Middle High German?
No, I don't think so. So many people thought about, they really wanted one, but for me, this story is told now. So it came to an end, and there is an open end, which also means something to me. So of course, this film was not only a storyteller's project, but it was also a very valuable personal experience for me, to grow. But I'm not Trudwin anymore, so I think I have to move on, and I have to tell the stories that I really want to tell now. So, and I wouldn't be really sure to, the concept was never for another movie or another short film. It was meant to have an open end, because it's always interesting to show it to this film to someone, and later they come to you and ask you what is happening with him now, what will be tomorrow. And yeah, I can't answer this question. Everybody can make his own opinion from this moment on. And I think this is something that is also interesting for an audience, because they don't get this full package of, yeah, that's the story, just take it, eat it, and then it's done. But it still can live in the minds of, at least for a while, of the audience members. So yeah, so that's why I don't think that there will be another part of this story. But I got other stories which are also also located in the 13th century. In the next movie, this will be a totally different thing, and it will focus on the poetic side of, or given poetic insight into this time. It's more about, yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it, actually, because it's all in the making at the moment, and I'm writing the screenplay, and I'm actually very happy with this project. I think it's one of the best things that I've done from now. It contains a few philosophical questions, but also very interesting, funny, but also kind of very, very unique characters, I think. And I think it's more about real individuals in that time. So now we had this role of the mother, of the little boy, of the healer, but they were just all what we knew. So the little boy was just a little boy, the mother was just a mother, and the healer was just a healer. And I want characters that are more complex for the next film. And I really read a lot of sources from medieval France about artists that write about their own life and about their own frustration and about their own success, and of the up and downs of their creative career. And we never saw something like this for the 13th century in moving images. There is no such project. I really did a lot of research, but I couldn't find anything. So yeah, that's these are all elements of this new story that I'm writing on. And it's also about somebody walking between different structures and hierarchy. So he's with very rich and wealthy people, but at the same time has to live a normal everyday life also, and has to find his own way through this, through his creative way. And but it's, there is very, very much in it, also about me. And I'm really, really happy to do this now. And I never was that sure, I think, that the story is valuable for me, but also for an audience. So I think it's going to be really cool. I hope so. I hope that I will be able to express it and tell it the way that I feel it. Of course, it's always a hard thing to do, to bring it from script to the screen. Yeah.
And wow, that's really exciting. That sounds really, really cool. And it's really interesting how you mentioned earlier how your previous film, but the main topic of our talk here, how that had its how that film had a place in your life, and you're going to move on from that, similar to the main character of that. And that's really cool. And now you're moving into this really exciting project. I like, that's like that again. You're like a pioneer. You're tapping in. It's an untapped source, and the fact that you have an interest in this stuff and have the means to do it, that's incredible. So my next question, and audience might be thinking this too. So similar to Du bist mir nicht bin din, will this next film be in the dialogues, and will that all be in the same? Oh, sorry, will that be in the language of the period too?
Yeah. Ooh. Of course. Yeah, we will do it in Old French, of course, and it will be even more challenging because I'm not that good in French at all. But it's of course a different language, and but I think it will be very cool to experience the language. I really love the sound of Old French, and we also got experts who are working with that now. So it's not just my idea, but there are also right now persons included or experts included that really help to make very good dialogues and to really represent Old French in a really good way. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. Like that's again that attention to detail. It's just the thing is, like, how can I word it? When you put good work out there, people will notice, and like the fact that you're still going for these minor things. Well, I shouldn't say minor because language is a big thing, but for some people they may think it's minor. But or the fact that you're going far as with the clothing, and the fact that this is going to be a bigger production. I'm excited for it. I hope the audience listening or watching this is going to find it just as interesting as it's going to. Like I'm excited for you, Tim. And that this is that hopefully this will turn the tide. Who knows what impact this will have on other people or other filmmakers, and of how to approach this stuff. Because it's not easy.
It isn't. But thank you so much for your appreciation. And
no problem.
But I still want to tell that this project is now very in the beginning of its creation. So we are not really sure, especially because of the funding. We think maybe we shoot next year or even the year after that. But we are already figuring out the cast and of course where to shoot it and stuff like that. But I think it's really it will be a long journey from now on, or a challenging journey, but I'm willing to do it because I think it's worth it. And so, and I'm very happy that I can work again with not the same people that were included in Du bist mir nicht Benzin, just a few of them, but with my new cameraman and my core team, all those which they are just lovely people, and we really work very well together. And I'm really happy to know them, and that they are willing to do another adventure with me, because that can be very challenging and exhausting too. But that's great, so that we can work together on this one. And I think these are very people that I really trust, and they even now understand the vision, and will do their best to bring the story to life.
That's beautiful, Tim. That you have people that you know and trust, and you get along with, you work well with, and they see your vision and they want to help you, and you're very lucky to have such friends. And I'm rooting for you, Tim. Yeah. So, is there anything else you'd like to share about either Du bist mir nicht Benzin or this new film, or anything else you want to say to the audience? Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
I wasn't prepared for that question, but I think in the end it's really about what makes all the difference is to find the people that really enjoy what you're doing. This changed my whole perspective on that, because from that moment on that I saw people were interested in this film, I could accept my own work also as valuable to them, and that's very, very hard for, especially for young artists. And I'm really, really happy that that this short film found an audience now. So it's not easily done. Some of the short films just premiere at 1 or 2 festivals, and they just are never shown again, and that's very horrible, because we have so many talented young filmmakers out there, and they tell their stories, and some of them don't get the feedback they would imagine. And even if this film is now on a different journey than what I thought first. So first I thought about the traditional festivals, but I really met so many interesting people because of this project, so that it changed my whole perspective and really brought me back to why I was telling the story, and that it's a legitimate way to tell such stories, because they are valuable to some people, and that was really great experience for me. Also, of course, to do this interview today with you, and to get to know you, and the things that you're doing, and that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess a takeaway from what you're saying there. I think this is something we can all learn with your example, with this film, and I guess, as a life lesson, really, that just kind of, well, there are different ways of explaining this, like kind of like being yourself and not being afraid of being yourself, and also believing in what you're doing. Because you can have a film crew, you can have all these things, but if you don't believe in your project or what have you, then it won't happen, right? And just and the fact that you went along with this, despite the challenges and this and that, you went through it, and you're around the right people, that are open to this, and you're very lucky, because it goes to show that when you, how can I word it? It's like when you be yourself, the right people will come. Because if one were to pretend to be something that they're not, then they'll attract people like that, and then then it gets a really complicated situation, because internally, well, I'm something else, but everyone thinks I'm this, and it gets all confusing. Yeah. Whereas,
so I stopped that.
Yeah, I can imagine internally, like, oh wow, somebody accepts me for who I am, or accepts my work for what it is, like the stories I want to tell. They're with, it's a very empowering vision. I think with your example, I think others can really benefit from you telling us this, that it's true once again, that when you do what you want, as far as being yourself, being creative, even despite what's going on, and it's like the same thing with myself with Old English. Some people might find it a little strange, or some people might think, oh, Middle High German. Well, well, that person may not like it, but there's a lot of people who do. I mean, there's some, that's the beauty of the internet. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And also to accept it as a strength in the end, what your own voice is, because I tried so much to do different stuff, which was more festival appropriate, but I found out that maybe we need someone who or people who tell history in this kind of emotional, individual way. And there are so many also museums who can benefit from things like that, and also other institutions who bring history to life. So I think my perspective changed a bit, and yeah, that's great, because now I'm all right with what I'm doing, and I can enjoy it, and can enjoy those books again. I can enjoy to learn this stuff again, and don't have to be afraid about, well, why are you doing this? There is another you should do different things to be known for them. So now it's this is something I learned, and that's really cool. So this project was really important.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's a beautiful thing to think about, that you went out your way, because there are people out there that, how can I word it? Because like I can imagine some naysayers, as we would say in English, or some people that see what you're doing, or even what I'm doing, and because I guess some of the haters' mindset could be, because we don't know what's going on with these people, but it could be part of that. Part of it could be that, like you and I are like a reminder of what they could have been doing with their lives, oh, look at these two guys. They're doing this. They're pursuing what they want and succeeding, or they see themselves and maybe thinking in the back of my mind, that could have been me, but I no one is stopping you, buddy. I mean, so in the same way, no one, we got no one can stop us but ourselves. I mean, it's again, like it's internally that we, having this belief that in the project and what we're doing, and this is a lot of strength, a lot of involved in projects like this, and that the right people came, they want to help you, and like films like this, it's gonna and the film you did, I mean, I hope it gets popular, but of course, like as you said, you want to eventually move on from it. It's like I'd imagine, like with some actors, like for example, the men who play James Bond, I think they want to get away from James Bond, because it's like, because they don't want, because I can imagine, like with actors, and they don't want to be known for one role. They want to like or be typecasted, because they want different roles and different opportunities, and but yeah, I mean, and the fact that you're doing this, it's inspiring. It really is. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Tim. So my final question, it won't be a hard one.
Okay.
Where can people find you on social media? Do you have a website, or how can people find you and the film?
So I got a YouTube account, channel, of course, and Instagram. Maybe I think it would be easier maybe to put it into the info box, because if I pronounce it now, I'm not really sure if people can really find it or really understand what I'm saying. But maybe this would be an idea, if that's okay for you.
Yeah, I mean, I do have people from Germany that watch me, but yeah, or in other parts of the German-speaking world. But yeah, I mean, of course, any link or anything you say, it will be in the description, and in one way or another. Whether this video itself is going to be posted on YouTube or Facebook, all the links and all that will be I was supposed to say jotted. I mean, you could read it say it that way. But even I can't speak English sometimes, and I'm a native speaker, But yeah, cool.
But
yeah. So
I I would of course it would really great if you would be interested to watch the movie. Of course, I'm really happy always about feedback, opinions, about some messages in the commentary section. And yeah, if you want to follow me, you of course can follow me on social media, on YouTube, and follow my journey for yeah, historical storytelling and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm always very grateful to make new contacts, of course. So if you're doing something history related or movie related, or you want to pitch a project or have an idea or something like this, I'm always happy to hear about this. And yeah, I think we history people, we have to stick together and yeah, do interesting stuff with those old sources, yeah, which are very, of course, very human too. So they're not just old, but also, yeah, worth to be told today. So yeah, I think yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Gerbert, director of the film Du bist mein, ich bin Dean. Check it out. Link in the description. And I wish you all a good day, night, or morning, wherever you're in the world. Take care.
Bye bye.